All right. Thanks everybody so much for being here. My name is Ben Sorensen. I'm the founder and president of Ascent Digital. We're a full service digital marketing agency. So we literally do everything from website development, social media marketing, targeted ads. But one of the things that has helped us in a huge way to have successful campaigns for our clients is the fact that we have an in-house video production department. So we employ 3 full-time videographers with a production manager and a whole team that handles our video production. And the reason I bring that up is that we've been doing a lot of, I'll call it reflecting on what is making our business successful, and the way that we're successful is when our clients find success. And what we're finding without exception is clients that are incorporating video into their marketing strategy have way more success than those that aren't. And specifically high quality, authentic video that really shows the personality of a business. I've got some philosophies that authenticity is disruptive when it comes to digital marketing. And one of the coolest things about video, and hopefully you guys at least felt something when you watched our little intro video, is that it invokes emotion. And there's some really powerful ways that we can utilize video and lean into video to tell a better story for your business, to sell more products, to recruit better employees, to retain clients. The benefits are literally endless. And so today we're going to go through video marketing in the modern world. We're going to talk about some best practices. I've got some stats, some examples and things like that. But I would love it if you guys don't mind, help me help you, and keep it conversational, please. I'd rather not just read off of slides and go through a presentation. So thought pops into your head, please raise your hand. Not only is that okay, I would prefer some conversations and feedback and questions and things like that. So just to start, we kind of talked about who we are and why video marketing matters. I'm also going to go into the benefits of video marketing, different types of video content, different distribution channels, and how you can work your video into your overall marketing and advertising strategy, how video plays into the customer buying journey, creating your video marketing strategy, advertising best practices, how to utilize your video to its full potential, some tips on creating content. Yeah, thank you. That I'm gonna fly through. I'm a fast talker, but thank you. No, I'm going to stick around 45. Yeah. So, by the way, Chase, will you raise your hand at 12:40?
Absolutely. I'll flag you.
Examples of some successful video marketing campaigns and then conclusions, but I definitely want to intentionally leave room at the end for Q&A and conversation. I've done these in the past, and by far, these go best when people are, we're brainstorming together and asking questions and things like that. So I feel like I'll do a good job if I spur a conversation, and even if that means I don't finish the presentation, that would be a good thing. As everybody knows, video content is becoming increasingly popular as a means for communication. So consumer behavior is evolving in very significant ways. I'm sure everybody's aware of your own online behavior when it comes to consuming content. And I've got some stats here in a little bit, but the lion's share of internet content now is consumed via video. People aren't taking the time to read long form content anymore. They're hardly even reading captions on social media. We're really looking to get information, capture people's attention, and consume it in a digestible way, which is why businesses need to lean into video marketing and why consumers have already adopted that as their preferred source of information. The other great thing, and I touched on this earlier, is that video content has the ability to evoke emotion and build trust with an audience. So just some fun stats, and these will go quick, but 54% of businesses are using video on their landing pages in 2023. So just over half of businesses are incorporating video into their websites, their landing pages, and their funnel strategies. But here's what's interesting. 82.5%, online video is expected to account for 82.5% of web traffic, making it by far the most popular type of content that people are consuming, kind of like I had just touched on earlier. So think about the discrepancy there for a minute though. Only 50% of businesses are using video on their landing pages, arguably the most important moment of a consumer buying journey, while 83% of online traffic is being consumed with video. So there's some gaps there and some opportunities for brands to utilize video on your landing pages. 86% of marketers, however, are using video as a content marketing tool, and I'll dive into that later on in the presentation with social media and things like that. 94% of marketers claim that video has improved customer knowledge of their goods or services, go ahead, Jack.
Will you make these slides available to people?
I will, absolutely, yeah. If you don't mind reminding me. 94% of marketers claim that video has improved customer knowledge of their goods or service, which the important takeaway for that one is that we're living in a world now where nobody wants to be sold to anymore. So I tell people all the time that from a digital marketing perspective, we really have three options. We can educate, entertain, or inspire. And so video provides some really powerful opportunities for you as brands or your business to do those three things exactly. We're finding a lot of people are able to digest video content with like product how-tos or quick tips, or kind of that digestible educational type content is going a lot further than in the written content. Just another application for video. Some of the benefits of video marketing: the more video content you create, the more traffic you'll draw into your website, boosting your overall SEO. I'm gonna real quick give everybody a free tip. So if you care at all about ranking on Google, write this down. Google owns YouTube, and Google really loves Google. So there's a little hack that you can do to utilize YouTube to benefit your website search rankings. And what you're gonna wanna do is publish videos to your YouTube channel. In the description of the video, make sure that there's a backlink pointing back to your website, and then round it out with writing a blog about the same topic that the YouTube video touches on, and embed that YouTube video in your blog. And what you'll do is you'll create some link building and some trust and some credibility with Google, and a huge SEO boost. I think a lot of times when people are thinking about ways to utilize video, SEO doesn't come top of mind. Usually we're thinking about more of your traditional video advertising or whatever it might be. But video is a huge driver and a huge component now in ranking factors. So utilize YouTube. My slide's all messed up here, but it basically can show the intangible benefits of your brand or your product. Sell the why. So the slide says to sell a lifestyle or never a product or service, but more of the why behind it. It also acts as a communication channel to provide vital and consistent messaging to your customers. So video can live on forever. That video that you guys watched for us is dated. I like to use the adage that the cobbler's kids have the worst shoes. We haven't worried about our own video for a long time, but even still, it's relevant. It showcases some of our work, even though it's more than a year old. I got to utilize it today, and there's a lot of great benefits in investing for video because of the time it can free up in your life later on. We have a client down in Farmington that sells like hot tubs and stoves and things like that, and they always get questions from people about like basic how-to and maintenances on the products. So we spent a day with them making these how-to frequently asked question videos that then she uploads to YouTube with a private link and sends them out to all her clients, and it has saved her hours on the phone just answering questions. Meanwhile, provided a better experience for her customers too, for customer service and having accessible information. So think outside the box of how you can use video to make your life a little bit easier. It keeps visitors engaged and convinces them to consume your product. It can kind of show the benefit of it. So an application to that would be, if we stick with the same theme of a hot tub or a stove business, you can then show what it would be like if you owned it. So you've got the application of the frequently asked questions and how-tos, and it's pretty dry and informative. But you can also show people and paint a picture for them what their life might be like if they buy this product, and show the lifestyle side of it. You can paint a complete picture of your brand, your product, and your story. What I love about video is that we get to not just tell a message, we get to show a message. And when you can combine showing and telling at the same time, you can convey a very powerful message in a concise amount of time. And so what happens is that resonates with people, and people, the feeling that people are left with sticks. And so it's just a very powerful way to convey more of the intricacies of your brand or your product or your story. We touched on some of these, but just to keep the gears turning, some types of video content that you might want to consider: product demos, testimonials. So we're loving utilizing video testimonials to build trust for brands. Just last week, I was down in Austin, Texas, spent a few days with a outdoor landscaping company, and we went to all of their different projects and spoke to the homeowners of the projects, and asked them a few questions about how the process was and how it was working with this particular company. When we get back to the office and in post-production, what we're able to do is edit all of the testimonials into basically one statement that's being told to the viewer by 5 or 6 people. And the result of that is that the trust grows exponentially. For the consumer side of things, instead of saying, well, yeah, sure, somebody did a scripted testimonial or whatever it might be, there's some powerful ways where we can tie it all together, tell one message from multiple voices, and it resonates in a really powerful way. So think about that too, of ways that you can build your credibility beyond just your voice, and using trusted voices, whether it's customers or employees or brand partners, manufacturers, or whatever it might be. Brand videos is a lot like the one I showed this morning. That's a montage of our work from the year of 2022, and really just meant to kind of showcase the businesses we work with and the type of work that we do. Educational, we touched on. So that's going to be answering frequently asked questions. What I would encourage you to think about is the phone rings often, and my guess would be that on the other end of the line, there's probably like 10 questions that somebody's going to ask all the time. Think about those, and maybe even start writing them down, and think how you can answer them in the form of a video and make that available to your audience. The other thing that you'll find happen is the same questions that people are calling you and asking, they're Googling. So you'll have your customer at their office, they can't make a phone call right now, but they're Googling a question about the good or the service that you offer. And if you have a video that's made that's answering that question, there's a chance that that video could return as a search result for them, and you could gain a new customer because they're asking a question that maybe your competitor, maybe they work with a competitor or a different business. Behind the scenes videos at Ascent Digital, I am the behind the scenes guy. There's like 3 things that I'm good at. One of them is behind the scenes video with my cell phone. Full disclosure for everybody, I'm not the magic behind our video work, my team is. But I have a lot of fun filming them filming and showing the behind the scenes stuff and showing people all the work that goes into it. But there's value to that. There's my guess would be for most of the businesses in here, you constantly are having to reassure people on your value or your pricing or why they're buying what they're buying. And there's some really powerful ways that you can use video to show the work that goes into what you do. So if you're a manufacturing company and you're showing the process, or you're a marketing agency and you're filming behind the scenes of filming a video, or whatever it might be, it's a really powerful way to educate your audience about how much work goes into the product that you're producing for them without saying, hey, there's a lot of work behind this and this is why we're pricing it that way. I've also found it's a great lead generation tool for me. So when I'm doing behind the scenes videos, I usually will tag the client that we're working with, and then they share it to their social media pages, and now we get exposure to all of their audience because they've shared our posts, which those overlapping spheres of influence is always something to lean into, and video keeps it fun. I'm gonna go through so much. Everyone bear with me. Distribution channels for video content. We touched on YouTube. Google owns it. It's an amazing, powerful tool to have your videos searchable and indexable and get in front of new audiences. Email marketing, we talked about how most online traffic now is consumed via video instead of reading. So if you have a email newsletter or you guys engage in email marketing, I would highly encourage you to consider embedding videos in your email effort. Paid advertising, if anybody hasn't had the chance yet to meet Ashley, you need to meet Ashley. I got to plug a little bit. Ashley does a ton of amazing work through Effective and Comcast with distributing videos, both on broadcast TV, but also streaming TV channels and things like that. One of the things too that I would encourage every business to think about is that in the digital age now, mass targeted distribution is not as cost prohibitive as it used to be. So there's some really cost effective ways to get your video in front of people. One of the things that we love utilizing is YouTube pre-roll ads. I was joking about that when I was trying to skip out of the one that I was playing. But streaming TV, broadcast TV, and paying to get your video in front of people. And then websites. I talked about how only 50% of brands are utilizing video on their landing pages, but 83% of online information is consumed via video. If you're not using video on your website, you need to do that yesterday. Video in the customer buying journey. So I'm going to try to articulate this in as simple way as possible, but what we found at Ascent Digital, I mentioned earlier that the clients that work with us and utilize video in their marketing, without exception, see better results than the ones that don't. We always refer to this as a full funnel strategy. And so this is meaning that we're deploying different marketing and advertising tactics on different stages of the sales funnel. So for us as brands or business owners, we think of it as a sales funnel, right? And we're trying to get people into our sales funnel, we're trying to move them down the sales funnel, and we're trying to ultimately convert them into a business. But what I would encourage you to do is change your frame of thinking outside of a sales funnel, lay it on its side, and map your customer's buying journey. So what behaviors are your potential customers engaging in that would put them in the different stages of your sales funnel? And then think through how you can talk to them in those moments. And what we have found is that if you think of it more as a customer buying cycle instead of a sales funnel, it lets you change your messaging, it lets you change the platforms, and it lets you be more available for your customers in a more meaningful way. So that by the time they're to the conversion point, the decision has already been made. And there's some tactics we can do that I won't have time to dive into today, but that we can literally guide people through their buying cycle, and not guaranteed, but we can, with a very high likelihood of success, end up having them turn into a customer for your brand. But as it relates to video specifically, it's kind of this recurring theme that I've been talking about of thinking outside the box of always just be selling. We're in a world now where nobody wants to be sold to anymore at all. We want to make our own decisions. Consumers are very savvy. We have an abundant amount of information available online. And so as a brand, you need to make sure that you're in that mix and that you're adding value and providing that awareness to your customers so that when they enter the buying cycle, you're an option and you can guide them through there. So a lot of that's adding value. And we kind of talked about how you can either educate, entertain, or inspire. What I would encourage you to think about, because I don't have the time to know every business that's in this room, but how can you utilize your video efforts to genuinely add value for your customers or your potential customers? That's where you'll see the most engagement, and that's where you'll start to see the most conversions come through, way more than I'm envisioning like the used car salesman walking down the lot. What's it going to take? Come down today. We've kind of evolved past that from a consumer standpoint. So you're probably thinking, wow, this is amazing. I should hire Ascent Digital to create a video marketing strategy for me. But if you're not, I'll walk through some ways that you can think through your own video strategy. So step one is choose your target audience and find out where they spend their time. So think through who your customers are or who you want your customers to be. And then again, coming back to that idea of reframing your sales funnel into a customer buying cycle, think about where they're spending their time. Let's think of a good example. Who wants to raise their hand and tell me what their business is?
I'm over at Coldwell Banker.
Awesome.
Realtors.
Perfect. So real estate's a great example. I've often wrestled with the idea of if people find a home first and then a realtor, or a realtor first and then a home. But for sake of conversation, let's assume that people are looking for their homes first. Or maybe they're deciding if they should move or do an addition or remodel or whatever. I think YouTube would be a great platform for that, where people are doing YouTube University and they're looking up, remodeling ideas, or how can I make my space more livable, or researching neighborhoods or school districts or whatever it might be. Especially in real estate, I think, where you've got that longer term buying cycle, there's going to be a whole lot of effort happening on the decision research phase of the buying cycle or the sales funnel. So I would encourage you to think about how to answer questions proactively. What's my home worth? Is now a good time to buy even though interest rates are high? Should I add on to my house or buy a new one, or whatever it might be? And if you answer those questions in the form of video, high likelihood you'll touch people at that beginning stage, as long as you genuinely add value. But there's a good example of like who your target audience is and where they're spending their time and where they're consuming their information. Connect with your audience and pay attention to past trends to align with a plan for the video. So the best way for me to explain this would be never copy and paste, but I give you full permission to copy with taste. So find inspiration online. To stick with the real estate example, we actually just recently, we were on a work trip down in Tucson, Arizona, and I was researching the Old Tucson is what it's called. There's like a tourist attraction down there. And I was researching it, and a video I found that was very helpful was this lady doing come spend the day with me at Old Tucson, but it was a real estate agent at the end of it. And a really powerful example of like connecting with an audience, adding actual value, not trying to sell me anything, but it became clear that she was an expert in the Tucson market and the things to do there, and knew that there was a clear strategy there where she was trying to capitalize that search traffic. Set a timeline and a budget for your videos. So unfortunately, like with anything nowadays, we can't do it once and think that that's good enough. What I would encourage everybody to do is think of a video marketing strategy that you can stick to consistently. So if that's a video a day, that's amazing. If you subscribe to Gary Vee and he'll tell you have to do 3 videos a day or whatever it is, probably unrealistic for most of us. But if it's a video a week, a video a month, a video a quarter, whatever it might be, figure out a budget and a plan and a cadence that you can stick to consistently, and then stick to it consistently, because that consistency will start to really impact algorithms. It'll start to really positively impact your audience, and you'll start to see some upward mobility in terms of the effectiveness of your efforts. Choose the best platforms to distribute your video. And I'm going to make sure I have time with this, but so again, thinking about your audience, the stage that they are in their buying cycle, and the platforms in which they're consuming information should also determine where you place your video efforts and where you place things. So for example, on social media, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, things like that, we're definitely gonna wanna be shorter format video. Usually people are consuming video on those platforms in vertical format. It's usually muted. So write that down, that if you're making a video and you're gonna distribute it cross-platform, your audience is more than likely gonna consume it on social media muted. So make sure that there's graphic elements or captions or something, but the likelihood of them actually watching it with volume on is low. Conversely, YouTube, you've got more of a captive audience. They're not, rapidly scrolling. It's usually more of a medium to large screen. So somebody's watching it on a laptop or, on their streaming TV or whatever it might be, and they almost always have volume on. So YouTube, you've got an opportunity to distribute longer format content horizontally with volume on, and I'm gonna get to your question. What I would encourage you to do then is take that and repurpose it for social media, but break it into shorts, vertical format, with graphics or closed captions. So you don't have to make separate videos for every platform, but you do need to be aware of how people are going to consume it. And then if Ashley were still here, I was going to ask her about commercials and stuff. But obviously, if it's more of like a TV platform or streaming TV, you're going to want a more polished approach, a more digestible, true commercial grade video for those ones. But I'm excited for your question.
You kind of answered my question because I was wondering about YouTube Shorts as opposed to YouTube, but I'm assuming YouTube Shorts muted, YouTube not muted.
100%. Yep. Yeah, think of YouTube Shorts the same as you would Instagram. Vertical format, quickly digestible. Yeah.
Short, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 minute. When you say short, what's
The shorter the better.
So 30 seconds would even.
Shorter.
Okay, shorter?
Yeah.
Seconds?
So 8.
Okay, glad I asked.
Yeah. I strongly advise all of my clients to never make video content that's longer than a minute. And that'd be with a few notable exceptions. But the shorter the better. Attention spans are flying through. We're finding 8 seconds is kind of the sweet spot for social media. You can get away with more if it's captivating, if it's powerful and emotional. General rule of thumb though is if it can be shorter, make it shorter.
Would you consider LinkedIn in that social realm too for those videos?
Yep. So LinkedIn's an exception. I would consider LinkedIn more of your YouTube strategy. Feel free to publish longer form videos to LinkedIn. It's more of a captive audience. The LinkedIn audience is usually going to be on a desktop or a laptop, not so much on mobile devices. So I would put LinkedIn in kind of the YouTube longer format category. Other questions? Because questions are great. Develop messaging. Yes.
One question on your statistics, when you were giving us statistics. Is that over all of the social media also?
Yes. Yep.
That includes everything?
Yep. That's the whole internet, not even just social media. In the interest of time, I'm going to kind of go through this quickly, but think through your messaging. Choose the right types of video for the audience that you're wanting to reach. If you want to be a thought leader, obviously that's a different approach than somebody who wants to be an influencer or a comedian or whatever it might be. So just be intentional about your messaging. And then decide which metric you want to track and how you're going to measure success. So think outside the box of just sales. Again, we kind of talked about the idea that consumers are really savvy now, and we want to guide them through their customer buying journey. And if all you're focusing on is conversions, did somebody click the video and did they buy my product? You're going to think that so much of your effort is a failure when it's not. You're getting other successes along the way. So what I encourage people to look at as really what I think one of the best metrics for success is engagement. So if you've published a video on a platform and it has likes and it has comments and it's been shared, that's a measurement of success, because what that means is that you've added value. Somebody took the time, and the best one you can ever have is if somebody comments on your video and tags their friend. It's literally a referral. But pay attention to those signals that occur, because what's happening, and I have a whole presentation on using digital marketing to create community. It'd be a whole nother hour. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create authentic connections and real engagement online, because that's how we create loyalty and that's how we create long-term customers. And so as a brand or as a business owner, you need to pay very close attention to those signals. If somebody's liking your video, if they're commenting on it, they're saying, hey, I want to be part of your community. And so use that as a measurement for success and engage back, comment back, thank them for the share, tag them, whatever it might be. But we have to take it a step further than just publishing videos and saying that that's good. We then have to participate in the activity that happens after we publish the video. So that when it comes to deciding metrics you want to track, I would just caution everybody on only looking at sales. There's so much more to it. I don't know why I get dry mouth when I'm doing these things. My nerves have gone, but now I'm. Advertising best practices we've kind of touched on, so I'm going to, in the interest, go. Okay, so yeah, we talked about how to utilize video for its full potential, but I want to reiterate that because I would love it if you guys leave here with actionable value that you can take back and apply to your business, and I think that this is it. We'll turn it back on if we have to. Thanks for warning me. Yeah. So I'm going to mention my tip again because it really is powerful. So when I started Ascent Digital in December of 2021, I had to practice what I preach and I had to lean into marketing. And I made a commitment to every Friday make an educational video, and I didn't even have camera gear at the time. I would take my cell phone and I would put it on my desk and I would turn the camera to me and I would hit record and I would do my wife still kills me when she sees them, but I'd be like, hey everybody, it's Ben with Ascent Digital. And today we're gonna talk about, and I look back at them and they're very embarrassing, but I did it consistently, and I did it with a genuine intention to add value and provide information that would help businesses. My business partner, Brittany, would then write a blog about the same topic that I did my video on. And we would do that strategy that I told you guys about publishing the video to YouTube. In the description of the video, we would link to the blog article. And in the blog, we would embed the YouTube video. And within 7 months, we were the #1 organic search result for marketing agency Durango, which is a very competitive vertical and something I'm really proud of. But it happened through consistency and with the intention of genuinely trying to add value. Just so everyone knows, whether it's video marketing, SEO, paid ads, whatever it might be, there are no shortcuts anymore. You can't black hat SEO. You can't use AI to create videos that are going to resonate with your audience. More and more now, content is being consumed that is authentic, genuinely adds value, and is relatable for clients. And so while it is easy to sometimes think, well, I could have AI, thank you, I could have AI make that, or I could cut my corner here, or repurpose this, this animated video that corporate provided me, or whatever it might be. The effort will always be at least linearly correlated to the benefit. You have to put in the work to get the return. There are no shortcuts, and it applies in a huge way to video. But stick with it and do it because it can be super powerful. Another quick anecdote, actually, since I'm there and I think it's valuable. I've recently started a podcast, and on every Wednesday I'm publishing the long format podcast recording to YouTube, backlinking to my website, and I'm doing social shorts on Instagram every time I release it. And when I do that, I'm tagging the guest. And I'm doing that intentionally because my hope is that they'll share the short, so my podcast now has exposure to their audience, and then obviously distributing it to all the social channels. But the reason I'm bringing that up is that I do this professionally. And as I sit right now, I have 7 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I've got 60 followers on Instagram, and half of them are my family. I joked with my wife a while back that all I have to do is an episode a week for the next 25 years, and I might have an audience. But I do think it's powerful to have realistic expectations, embarking on a video marketing journey or a video marketing strategy, that consistency and longevity are gonna be way more important than dropping 10 grand and having some big production company come in and make you one, great video. There are ways to give it some legs, but you gotta be patient with it. I'm gonna go for 5 more minutes, and then I would love to have Q&A. Does that sound okay for everyone? So I'm gonna kind of go through these quickly just so I can see.
We're not seeing it behind you, by the way.
Oh, or did we time out?
Yeah, I couldn't get it back up.
Well, good, now I can look at my, okay, so here's another actionable one that I think will be valuable. So by raise of hands, everybody on social media with their businesses, are we utilizing stories? We need to start utilizing stories. You have to stop selling yesterday and start utilizing stories yesterday as well, please. Especially on Instagram and Facebook, stories are now the most consumed content on those platforms. They're they're just an amazing way to reach your audience. What's great about stories too is that you can create engagement by tagging the people that you're working with. So for example, I'm just going to use the real estate agent because you raised your hand. I appreciate that. Let's say that you're, doing a walkthrough with, or I don't know, you're having an open house and it's a new construction build. You can tag the builder, and you can tag, your brokerage, and you can tag if you have clients with you or whatever it might be. Again, with the caveat that it has to happen in a very authentic and meaningful way. People will see through it if you're just tagging everyone, like trying to get exposure. But creating that engagement and that community is how then your videos can get a larger audience, because they feel like they're part of the conversation, they're part of the journey. We see it all the time with ours, is that I tag people and they share it, and our audience grows. Sometimes you'll strike gold. We recently did speaking of, a behind the scenes for a hype reel for Fort Lewis College volleyball team. And this actually speaks to this idea of consistency as well, and knowing that this whole thing's a process. We publish to our social media every day, multiple times per day. Yesterday we published 3 posts to social media. A few weeks ago, and Chase is actually the man behind the camera on this one, but we did a behind the scenes reel of making a hype reel for Fort Lewis College volleyball. And we tagged Fort Lewis College Athletics and Fort Lewis College Volleyball, and it exploded. As things sit today, we have 21,000 organic views from that video. We got 50 new Instagram followers. And a lot of the reason why is because the players that were in the video thought it was really cool and shared it to their stories. And then Fort Lewis accepted the invite as a collaborator, and so we got to leverage their audience as well. But just an example of where consistency really matters, and then creating engagement in a community and tagging people. And stories is such a great platform to do that. The other thing I would recommend is when you're doing stories on Instagram, you can create what's called highlights. And if anybody's interested in this, we could show you this, free of charge, no problem. But you can basically archive your video content to a permanent highlight section of Instagram. So if you look at ours, we have a behind the scenes highlight, and you can click it and you can see there's hundreds now of clips from us on all the different shoots all over the country. And it's just cool, a place to kind of archive it, and you start to see the stuff that translates and the stuff that your audience is telling you they want to see more of, and you can highlight that as part of your Instagram. But it'd also be a great place where we talked about those frequently asked questions or adding value for your customers. Those highlights on Instagram are a great place to do that. You'll instantly build your credibility, you'll genuinely add value, and you might save yourself some work with people asking questions that you're always answering. But just be thinking about that. The stuff that is happening often or coming up frequently, you can use video to kind of archive that and create some cool resources for you and your audience. And I'm just gonna go through these quickly and see if there's other ones that, with my intention to add actionable tips before I open it up for Q&A. We talk about vertical versus horizontal. Call it good there. But we have 15 minutes for questions, and so I would love them. Ask me all the hard ones.
Can you take a video that's already been made, I think 30 seconds or a minute, and do other things to it, maybe shorten it, like use it so it's ready for different platforms? Absolutely, yeah. In fact, not only can you, I highly encourage it. Oh, can I? Yes, yes. Of course. Yes, yeah. Yes, we can. Yeah. You had one too?
Yeah, so I'm with Durango Education Foundation, and so I'm new to this, but definitely just started posting, probably did something horrible I'll be embarrassed about, later on. But I'm wondering if it is worth it. You said you started out with things that you look back on and you're kind of embarrassed. So that's kind of one of the things that keeps me now from doing videos it's like, is that going to be worth it later on, or am I just going to make us look sort of maybe in small school, What a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Of course, absolutely it's worth it for a few different reasons. So one would be if everybody's kind of thinking about
a video marketing strategy, but we don't know where to start, or we're not a professional, or whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, there is zero risk. There is no downside whatsoever. Worst case scenario is you make a video that doesn't resonate and it gets lost in the noise of the internet. And 3 people saw it, and guess what? They don't care anyway. And they forgot about it and they moved on. But you've now started a journey. You've started the process. You've learned something. You've gotten a little bit better, even if it's incremental. You've also now given yourself an opportunity to get feedback from a real audience. Something might stick. You might find the thing that works or that you get comfortable with, or that style that's kind of your niche, or whatever it might be, but you will not find that without starting and trusting the process. The good news is that the upside is fantastic. You might go viral, you might strike a chord, you might get in front of the right eyes. We have example after example. If you looked at our stuff, most of our stuff flops. 85% of our stuff flops. Who cares? We keep putting it out, we keep rocking and rolling with it because we're learning. But I'll get feedback from clients sometimes that we've landed accounts and built relationships based on a piece of content that I'm like, you saw that one? Who would have thought? But anyway, it's absolutely worth it. And it's also necessary. The world is evolving so fast when it comes to how content is consumed, that if you don't start learning, unless you have a huge budget or whatever, and can be like Gary Vee and have a videographer with him 24/7, it's a great skill to learn, and think of it as no risk, all reward, only upside. My first podcast was awful. Just so everyone knows, the video timed out after 30 minutes. I didn't know about how to turn it on. My mic was way louder than my guests, but I learned a ton. I published it out. I told them how much I apologize for my learning curve. But if I didn't have my first, I wouldn't have had my second, and then I wouldn't have had my third and my fourth and my fifth. And last night I recorded my 7th, and it went okay. So we're starting to get there. Yeah.
So, using an example of an educational video, is it better to link to your YouTube or embed it on your website?
Both. So what I would do is always make those videos live on YouTube, and then embed the YouTube video to your website. A few different reasons. One is you'll get the searchability benefits of having a video that is published on YouTube. There's also a factor in SEO that's called site speed. And basically Google's only going to return websites to the top of results that are lightning fast. And if you actually publish a video to your website, it'll slow the performance of your site. So you'll get the SEO benefit on YouTube. You can embed it there, same user experience. They still get to view the video. It won't slow down your site, and you'll also create links between the two. So publish to YouTube, embed it everywhere else. With the exception of social media, publish the video directly to social media. Don't share the YouTube link.
They don't like YouTube.
Correct. Yep.
Does Google like YouTube?
Correct. Yeah, I'm sharing all my podcast YouTube videos to my Facebook page, and I get 0 engagement. But YouTube's what I'm trying to grow, so I'm intentional about that. I know that algorithms are going to turn it down, but then I share the Instagram Shorts, and all of a sudden I get tons of engagement. They know who they're playing favorites with. Yeah.
You said earlier, and I wanted to make sure I got it because it was really helpful. You were talking about, so Google owns YouTube to publish videos to YouTube channel, and then in the description make sure there's a link back to your website. And then where did you go from there? You said round it out with the same topic.
Yep. So then write a blog
Okay.
about the same topic that your video was on, and embed the video into the blog. And you'll have a whole circle of links and cohesiveness.
What's the name of your podcast?
Chasing Greatness.
Not pasting, but we can.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah. Chasing Greatness.
Chasing Greatness.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to plug.
What are some menu ideas for like an interior design firm?
Ooh, interior design, the sky's the limit. There could be some really cool like before and afters. And a great opportunity for a business like that would be utilizing trending audio. So if you go to Instagram and click the magnifying icon at the bottom, you'll get the recommended feed, and just click on a reel and start scrolling, and you'll find that there's like a lot of them are using the same audio snippets, and a lot of them are these really dramatic like transition music. And I could see some really cool ideas where you're filming the space before you design it and then syncing it with the music and showing after the entire design got there and letting people kind of see, how different it could look afterwards.
There's just like such a wide gap between when it starts and when it ends, because a lot of our projects, if we do like a whole house or a whole commercial or residential, it usually takes about 6 months.
Yeah.
Between. Is that still?
You still could definitely bank it. To get in the habit of when you're there doing the video with your phone, saving it for later, and then when it's done type of thing. Another cool one would be if there's like a lot of activity in the project that day, would be a time lapse video. Set your phone up and put it on time lapse and just show like the hustle and bustle that's going on.
Is it better to do it vertical or horizontal with some of those?
Social
I
media.
usually use like Instagram or TikTok, but you said YouTube.
Yeah.
Much with that, so.
Rule of thumb, with no real exception that I can think of, at least right now, always go vertical for social media. Yep. Always just go vertical with social media. As frustrating as it is, but go vertical. But there's, and along the same lines of the other ideas we've been talking about of just starting, trying, and copy with taste. Go follow other interior designers, like national leaders, people that are crushing it, the influencers in the space, and start consuming their content, because it'll give you ideas, for elements that you can take to make sure it's authentic and genuine to who you are and who your brand is. But there's so much inspiration out there now that and again, I have a whole tangent on, creating communities online, but if we're intentional about the content we consume, it can be incredibly beneficial and helpful. And so we consume all sorts of digital marketing, content so that we can get ideas and let inspiration flow. And I bet there's some really cool stuff out there with interior designers to get some inspiration from.
Hi, I have a local gift box business, and I'm pretty good at, I think, piecing together little videos or reels with the products, but not really making a personal connection, and I think that's really missing, and I'm just wondering if you have suggestions.
I can't think of a better business to create engagement than a gift box business. So the sky's the limit there, but one would be obviously you can create engagement and tag all of the products that are within it. I also think, have you ever seen unboxing videos? No. Go down a YouTube rabbit hole of unboxing videos, but people film unwrapping stuff, and there's some really cool things you could do with unboxing the gift box.
Okay.
And if somebody gets it and it's literally taped shut and they're pulling it out and looking at all of the product, and that's when you can then tag the manufacturer or the brand of the product. Just one idea, but there's some really cool ways that you could create engagement with the unboxing component. And then by nature, your product is the sum of many parts that a lot of people had to contribute for that to come to fruition. And engaging with them when it comes up naturally is about as good as you can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a great business.
Just how important is authenticity to your marketing or your website or whatever?
My name is Ben Sorensen, and welcome to my TED Talk on authenticity. There's literally nothing more important. I have a whole philosophy that authenticity is actually disruptive, and
Yeah, that's how you kind of started the whole talk?
yeah, we're.
Contradicting, or is it?
Oh no, there is nothing. Authenticity is critical. We're living in a world now where so much of the content we're consuming is filtered or fake. You see it in corporate, corporate businesses will try to jump on trends or be woke or whatever it might be, and everybody sees right through it. It's crystal clear, and a takeaway from that would be I see a lot of times businesses will try to jump on a TikTok trend or something, but they're not funny. They're not funny people, but they're trying to do this thing just because it's trending, or they're trying to squeeze themselves into a box. General rule of thumb would be, if you think it's valuable If you would consume the content, when in doubt, put it out. And coming back to that idea of that there's no downside. There's literally nothing to lose. You worst case scenario, nobody sees it and you learned a little bit. But being vulnerable and being authentic is the difference maker. It's the only thing that matters, in fact. One of the things that has contributed in enormous, immeasurable ways to our success at Ascent Digital has been that we've given ourselves permission to lean into our personalities. And so we have fun. We have this thing where, so I'm a big branding swag guy, obviously, and I pass out swag like crazy, but hoodies have to be earned. So there's Ascent Digital hoodies that have to be earned. See? And whenever somebody's earned a hoodie, we make it a big deal. We play the Olympic intro music, and I do a big ceremony, and I'm like, you've earned your hoodie, and make it this big thing. And we just record it in real time, and we publish it. We don't even edit it or look at it or care. And it lets people feel, first of all, it lets people know that we're real human beings. We really care. We have emotions. We're not just algorithms behind a computer making stuff happen. But it also lets people connect with us in a meaningful way because they see, that somebody had to earn something, or they got a little insight into me pumping up an employee and saying, thank you for being this and this and this. Another one, just a quick example, and then I'll wrap. But apparently I say things often. It sounds like even during this presentation, I said that authenticity is disruptive and things like that. But the team, without my knowing, created Ben Bingo. And they had bingo cards in their desks, and they had these Ben-isms on the cards, and they had it all written up. And for weeks, the team was playing Ben Bingo behind my back. And somehow they knew that something was going to happen. And one of the things that I guess I do, well, now I know I do, is I go on runs most days from the office. And when I do, I think it's funny, and I put somebody in charge. So I'm walking out of the office, and I'll point to an employee, and I'll say, you're so-and-so, you're in charge. And they knew that was coming, and so everybody was like primed for it, and I was oblivious because I was getting ready for my run. And as I was walking out the office, I pointed to the team, and I said, David, you're in charge. And everybody erupted into cheers and laughing, and Peyton screamed that she got bingo. And it was this amazing, and then I went on my run, and I was smiling ear to ear the whole time because of the power behind that, and that's a whole nother conversation. But we shared it to our social media, and it was so powerful because it let people see our culture. Like it was way, way more impactful than me saying, hey, we're having a sale on video marketing, 50% off if you call us today. Instead, it was like, it showed that we're authentic, and it let people see what we're about and the team that they would be hiring and the fact that we have fun while we're at work. Can I tie any sales directly to that? No, but contributed in immeasurable ways to the larger effort of our digital marketing. So sorry for going down a tangent, but authenticity is the only thing that matters. So be authentic, please. The world needs it.
Just a quick question. When you're by yourself, you don't always have the benefit of somebody else taking videos, and when you're my age, doing this is not always the best. I noticed that Zoom now allows, it's going to take a lot of practice. Zoom now allows single, that you can do single snippets, Canva. Does that take away from the authenticity?
Oh, no, and look.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to my presentation.
GoPro is very helpful in that too.
And that really, it's all, like if there's any takeaway from this whole presentation, it's just do it. No one cares. My dad gave me a tip a while back that resonated with me in a huge way, but basically told me that you'll care a lot less what people think of you when you realize how little they do. Everyone's in their world. Everyone's focused on themselves. And fear of failure, I think, holds people back in huge ways from success and seeing what's out there. My guess is you have some amazing stories to tell and amazing information to share with people that can genuinely add value. It's just a matter of having the courage to get a little bit out of your comfort zone and going for it. Because we've all been there, where I'm faking it right now. So do it. Anything else? I'm at 1 o'clock. I apologize. I kind of got into a groove there, but it's a good thing. That's why I appreciate the question so much.
Do you have any suggestions on how to lean into your personality on social media when you know you're going to be muted?
Yeah. Captions. Yep. Yep. Short and captions. So Instagram has a feature that you can actually turn on closed captioning. I could show you it right after this. It's very easy. And it'll auto-populate the words that you're saying over the video. Or there's also a little icon that says sound on. And I'll do that sometimes, like if I'm doing an Instagram story and I want people to hear what I'm actually saying, you know, I'll put it in there. But then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll type in, you know, I'll use text to show the personality and you know, keep it concise and easy, but kind of put the text over the video.
I'm trying to help my agents. So I'm not an agent, I'm an agent concierge, so I kind of do a lot of this marketing, social media. Couple of tips when I'm like trying to help them, you know, do their videos to help them get comfortable. I have one guy that he's so nice, and he like people would want to work with him, but I know he gets really nervous in front of the camera. So it's like even just a couple tips.
Yeah, if you're nervous, eliminate variables. Go to a place that you're comfortable. You know, wait till the office is closed and you know the door shut or whatever, where you can like have freedom to fail. There's some really cool apps out there that'll turn your phone into like a projector. What's the word? A teleprompter. So you can, you know, type up a script and have it come on your phone, which is great because you can be looking at your phone and reading it. Those would be two tips for sure. And then I would tell them to, you know, look for inspiration, like kind of like we've talked about, but look at what others are doing and use that to, you know, give them some confidence to try some things. But also, you know, again, being authentic, because a lot of times uncomfortability comes from trying to be something that we're not. And so being true to that, and which sometimes might mean that you're not the face, you know, but you can still use video and show it outward. Or, you know, for a long time I would go on runs and I would film my feet running because I was embarrassed to, you know, film myself. Now I finally have the confidence to do so, but forever I would just show my feet because trying to inspire people that, you know, running without like, you know, looking like a goofball while I'm running. So there's ways around it to still utilize it but stay in the comfort zone. We're at 1 o'clock, guys. Thank you so much.